that we've talked about what weather is and what kinds of weather we have. So we all said today that we had sunny weather. We're going to talk a little bit more about some causes and effects of what weather is and different kinds of weather maps so we can read what's going to be coming up in the weather forecasts. So first we're going to look at when it's windy. So there's some causes and effects. So when the sun comes out, it warms the Earth's surface and the atmosphere warms also. Some parts of the Earth receive direct rays from the sun all year round and they're always warm. Some are cold as well, and other places don't receive the direct rays, so the climate is a lot colder. Warm air weighs less than cold air, so it will rise. And the cool air moves in and replaces the warm air, and that is actually what is going to make the wind blow. Okay, no questions. We're moving on to snow. Snow is when water gets really cold, and it's when water vapor evaporates into the air and it changes straight into ice. Usually we have rain and it turns into a liquid, but when it's really cold outside, it goes straight to ice, so it turns into snow, and it has to be under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we don't normally see tornadoes out here where we live, but there are a lot of tornadoes in the Midwest. When we do our projects a little bit later, you're going to see maybe quite a bit of tornadoes through the middle of the United States. So tornadoes are mostly from thunderstorms. It only happens mostly in the middle of the United States because you need warm air from the Gulf of Mexico at the bottom, and you need the cold, dry air from Canada to come down and mix together. And when they meet, they become unstable. They're not safe. So the wind changes directions and it increases in speed. So it creates like this invisible wind tunnels that can get as big as 2 to 6 miles in diameter and all the way across. Okay, do we have any questions about tornadoes? Okay, so those are just going to be talking about a few of them. We came up with a lot of ideas earlier. There's lots of different things. We'll be able to look at them a little bit later when we go to the computer lab. But right now we were just going to focus on a few different ones. Okay, so we have weather forecasting. So that's what a meteorologist does. He or she is going to talk about weather. They're going to predict different things, what's going to be coming up, what kind of temperatures they are, if it's going to be hot or cold or raining, snowing. Okay, so weather forecasting is a prediction of what the weather will be like in an hour or tomorrow or even next week. Weather forecasting involves a combination of computer models, which we'll look at in a little bit, some observations. They go to school to have the knowledge and understanding of the trends and the patterns that happen in the weather. By using these methods, they're reasonably accurate forecasts, and they can be made up to a week in advance, 7 whole days. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to be doing a little bit of a presentation in our groups. We're going to be getting in groups of 4. Each of us is going to pick a different type of weather map. I listed a few on the board. There's a few others as well we'll talk about. We're going to go ahead and you're going to give a presentation in your groups, nothing crazy, about what weather maps they are. I have some questions that I have on little half sheets that I'm going to pass out to you guys, and we're going to guide what we're going to look at. We're going to go to the computer lab. We're going to look at different types of weathering, different types of weather maps. I have poster boards in the back of the classroom that are going to show the whole United States maps. Okay, so we're going to go real quick. I'm going to go over to the computer. I'll be right back. We're going to pull up Some of the weather station symbols, what they mean. You're going to be seeing a lot of those. This one right here, when you see it in this circle right here, these 3 dots is going to be the weather. You have the temperature. This one right here is wind speed, sea level, different pressures. Okay, we'll go over all of that in the lab when we get there. All right. There are different kinds of satellites that the meteorologists use in order to predict the weather. So a weather satellite is a type of satellite that is primarily used to monitor the weather and climate on Earth. Satellites can be polar orbiting, where they stay on the same part of the Earth for 12 hours. So if the Earth's right here, they keep moving around in the same circle, okay? And then they have also ones that are considered geostationary. So as the Earth spins, the satellite stays with it at the same exact speed, okay? They don't change with them, okay? So just like we listed on the board here, those are some right here, the different types of weather maps. All right, I'm gonna go over here real quick. Okay, while I try and get this done, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the projects. I'm going to let you pick one other person to be in your group of your choice, and then we're going to pair you with somebody else, okay? Me or Mrs. Hunter will. All right, so here we go. So this one right here is going to show precipitation. Down at the bottom, there's going to be keys. Right here, it shows rain. Light is going to be green to purple. As you can see right here through Kansas and parts of, what is that, Missouri, it's getting pretty rainy. You know, this blue right here shows snow, very light snow. Okay, you can see that one. So some of us can pick precipitation, and we would be able to draw something just like this. And then tomorrow we're going to be giving a report, just like a real meteorologist would for the day, okay, for that day. All right, next we have, okay, this one's going to actually be wind speed. This one shows the different speeds of the wind. So right here, as you can see, this is going to be Canada up here. All the wind right now is being pushed down and through Texas, okay? You see how that goes? All the arrows point which way they go. All the wind, how it circles. Okay, so a couple of groups can do wind speed as well. You can draw something just like this and color it in and put all the different wind speeds, and we're going to give a report just like that as well. Okay, this one's going to be fronts. We didn't talk much about fronts. Although this one right here, if you've ever watched one, we can watch a couple more when we get into the computer lab. They talk about high and low pressures. Okay, so this is what this is. The H's stand for high, and the little red L's are low. Okay, so this is kind of a low pressure, high pressure showing of the fronts. If anybody doesn't remember what the words mean, don't forget we passed out the vocabulary list as well. Where is it? Okay, and this one right here actually shows the temperature. Okay, so this is going to be an example of a current temperature map. As you can see up here out in California where we are, it's actually some of the hottest that it is in the rest of the whole country. Okay, it's pretty cold up here in the north still, but it's getting warmer as it gets closer to summer, right? Okay, the last thing before we go gather our stuff and go to the computer lab, we're going to look at somebody actually giving a real meteorologist giving a report, just so we have a reference of what we're going to be doing tomorrow, okay? We'll watch another one for tomorrow's when we come in, though.
The corridor is fine for Saturday. We do have rain and forecast though from Florida.
Okay, Dylan, I see your question. I'll be with you in just a second. I'll be right over.
And then another weaker system crossing over the northern Rockies with good share of additional rain and maybe even some snow. There you see the cool pocket of air, but looking good actually even for the far west coast. Seattle 77, partly sunny conditions, about 72 down toward LA. 76, not so bad for you, Houston, as the bulk of the rain and that cold air will be across the middle of the country and sliding into the southeast. Here we go to Sunday, still looking good over the northeast, so a great weekend is shaping up for you. Go ahead and make your plans, but there you see the pocket of green, including down toward Atlanta, all the way to Chicago and Indianapolis, Cincinnati. Wet weather expected on Sunday, with overall.
So here you can see temperatures coming in. She just did precipitation.
Cooler air, only in the 60s there. You see Chicago 62, but sunshine in New York City, so a big difference, right? 81 though in Seattle, so warming up for the far west coast, pretty mild for the region.
All right. Dylan actually had a good question while we were watching this. It was about groups. Mrs. Hunter will be going over that when we get into the computer labs. If we don't have any other questions, then we're going to get all of our stuff and we're going to head over to the computer lab just for a little bit. On your way out the door, we're going to be handing out your half sheets with your questions. Think of somebody right now that you'd like to have in your group, just one other person, and then we'll pair you together after that from there. And after that, we're good to go.